All right, there's no doubt that the world is changing and businesses and consumers are trying to keep up. What trends are you seeing?
A lot of different things that have happened in the past years are changing business in a complete way, especially in the digital and internet technology space. People are changing the way they buy things. So when you think about just a few years ago, how often people went to stores versus how now they use different services for buying things online and then getting them in the comfort of their house, that changes things a lot, especially for any business that depended totally on something that was physical retail or impulse buys and things like that. Then you need to figure out how to adapt to these new environment.
So this isn't just accounting and finance that you're seeing these changes. This is really a change in consumer behavior. In your capacity with Hershey, how are you seeing that change?
Yeah, I mean, the changes are happening everywhere externally. And when we think about finance, accounting, as what is the mission of these functions, it's really to support the business with information that would enable them to make good decisions. So we have information about where we are investing our funds, how the business is growing, and if the growth in different brands is working or not working with customers, what is really driving our growth and our profitability. So that growth and profitability is heavily influenced by what is happening outside. So we already talked about the digital economy, internet technologies, how people are interacting, but also there are other cultural changes. When we think about health and wellness and how more and more people are looking for better for you alternatives, that changes things for any consumer products company that is selling food or packaged goods in the market. And what you have seen in recent years that many small businesses have really been able to take advantage of that change and achieve that growth. And then more and more larger companies are basically trying to figure out how to meet that consumer need, understanding how people live today and their new needs, how they are living, working, eating, and basically what they do, what they exercise, and what they enjoy in life. So at the end of the day, we as finance and accounting professionals need to understand how all those external pressures are really driving business differently and how we connect external information with our internal information to provide insights to the business.
So how specifically is Hershey adapting to these changes? What strategies or things are you doing differently?
Hershey's has been doing several things in the past few years. One that you can see more online is related to how we are trying to really understand e-commerce and how to operate in that retail environment. So definitely many very smart people that understand what is really the way to approach digital commerce and e-commerce in itself, how to work with retailers that, as you can see, are also moving to e-commerce and with all their businesses that are mainly e-commerce, because what we have seen happening is no longer a question of e-commerce versus brick and mortar. Everything is blending and is more of how you interact with individuals. And you need to then understand, in the case of Hershey, with a product that is very, we can say, impulse driven, how do you operate then in that environment if you are interacting with consumers in the digital space versus just going through physically through a store. The other aspect of it, and since we talked about the trends and better for you snacks, really Hershey has made a very clear position on diversifying beyond chocolate and candy, which is a very, very solid business, and we can, obviously chocolate and candy will always be there and people will always enjoy it. And however, we know that in order to continue growing, we need to look and understand those other trends, and therefore in this year, the two major acquisitions show that Hershey has made a strategic decision to move beyond, we can say, chocolate and candy. In this case, the acquisition of Amplify snack brands.
Right.
They really grew the brand Skinny Pop in an outstanding way, and many people know Skinny Pop.
Right.
And when you think about the success that came from that brand, and now with Hershey, we can definitely are learning a lot from that, and we can see that we'll continue growing that brand into the future. And then just last month, we acquired Pirate's Booty. That has a different, when you think about Skinny Pop is more geared toward adults that are looking for better for you alternatives. Then Pirate's Booty is a better for you alternative that gears and gives that benefit to kids. And then you see parents also liking it. It seems like you like it. So
I like them both.
I like them both. So that's excellent. And so those are the type of brands that we will continue to look in the market. And obviously, these two provide us a good platform to create our basically better for you snacking business and continue growing and adapting to these new environment.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for spending some time with us.